In this video, we will learn about characteristic features of a chemical reaction. How can we identify a chemical reaction? Whether a chemical reaction has taken place or not, we can see some of these changes. Okay, so by seeing some of these changes, some of these 5 changes, we can know whether a chemical change has taken place or it's just a physical change, whether a chemical reaction has taken place or it's just a physical reaction. But we cannot be sure. Okay, that means even if these points have taken place, we are not 100% sure that it's a chemical reaction. For that, we will need to see if a new product is formed or not. So, first is the physical state normally changes in a chemical reaction. Whenever a chemical reaction happens, normally the physical state will change. For example, it was solid, now it will be liquid. Okay, in the burning, for example, in the burning of magnesium, the reactants, that is, magnesium is a metal, solid, oxygen is air. When magnesium burns in air, what we get? Magnesium oxide, which is a white powder. Okay, initially it was solid, now we have white powder. So the physical state has changed. The second point which can help us to identify a chemical reaction is the change of color. Usually color also changes. Different combination of molecules reflect light differently, so they interact with light differently. Therefore, a color change indicates a change of molecules, that is a formation of new compound. For example, when colorless nitric oxide NO and oxygen react, when they two react, what we get? A color appears due to the formation of brown colored nitrogen dioxide. So when this reaction takes place, NO plus O2, we get NO2, and this is brown colored. Initially it was colorless, oxygen is also colorless, and then we get brown color. So we can say that a chemical reaction has happened. Okay, this is the unbalanced reaction. Then what we can also do is we can see the formation, if the formation of precipitate has formed or not. What precipitate means, I will tell you in a minute. Some chemical reactions are accompanied with the formation of a precipitate. For example, when colorless solutions of lead nitrate and potassium iodide, when lead nitrate and potassium iodide are reacted, what we get? We get lead iodide, and that is yellow in color. Okay, so now what is precipitate? There are three terms that you need to understand: solution, suspension, and precipitate. Solution is simply there might be two or more than two compounds mixed together, and they are mixed so that you cannot, by looking at that, you cannot say how many compounds are in this solution. Okay, for example, if you will mix juice and water, that will form a solution. Okay, now, what is a suspension? Suspension means it is a solution, but there are small solid particles in it. So that will not be called a solution, it will be called a suspension, because there are small solid particles in it and they have not been dissolved completely. Okay. What is a precipitate? Precipitate means the compound which gets precipitated at the bottom. That means initially, for example, there was a container and in it some reaction happened, and because of that reaction small particles are formed. Then after some time, what will happen? Those small particles will settle down. They all will settle down, and that is called a precipitate. The liquid will remain at the top. For example, if you mix sand with water and you mix it, what will happen? Initially, the sand particles will be all over like this, and then if you keep it somewhere for a long time, what will happen? The sand particles will settle down. They will not dissolve in water, they will just settle down. Okay, and water will remain on top. So, that is called a precipitate. Evolution of gas, the fourth point, evolution of gas. You can see if the evolution of gas is happening or not. Formation of bubbles. In some cases, a gas may be evolved. For example, when zinc reacts with HCl, what we get? We get hydrogen gas. The fifth change which you can identify is temperature. Generally, what happens is chemical reaction is always accompanied by heat change. Why? In a chemical reaction, you need to either break the initial bonds or form new bonds. So, heat will either be released or heat will either be needed for the chemical reaction. Okay, so the temperature will either increase or decrease. As chemical reactions are always accompanied by heat change, we observe cooling or warming. Normally a chemical change is permanent and cannot easily be reversed, but chemical change can be reversed. It can be this way. So, but normally, this is not the case. Normally, the chemical changes are permanent. During a chemical change, there is a breaking of bonds between the atoms of the reacting molecule and simultaneous formation of new bonds of the product. Okay. So, if H2 plus O2 gives H2O, which bonds are breaking? This was initially like this, and O2 was initially like this, but we need to break both of these bonds. So this bond will be broken, this bond will be broken, and what we will get? We will get a new compound with new bonds. So we will have to give heat here. Okay, I hope this topic is clear.